I think I've held back enough. From my childhood, I have always tried to find a way to be invisible. I thought it would keep me safe and I would be seen as a good girl. But I'm not a little girl anymore, and I'm damn sure do not want to be a good girl. I want to be a woman who lives her life out loud. That means that I don't shrink, that I don't pull back or stay quiet, especially when my voice is needed, and it is needed. It also means that I have the audacity to think for myself and imagine dangerously. Today, I want to talk about your dreams, your dangerous dreams, and why they matter. Many of us are walking around pregnant with ideas. We are about to burst open. And what you need is a midwife to hold you through that birthing process, particularly for a time that we are in. Many of us are carrying a remedy or intelligence or technology, a type of technology that answers the call for this time. You have probably been carrying it by holding the contractions, holding back on the contractions. Because what do you do once it's born, right? There is this big baby you just birthed. What do you do? Whatever this dream is, and it can be just about you and your family. It could be about the collective. It could be for your community. It could be for your country or the world. And I want to talk to those of us specifically who are living in the United States, where I am. We're watching the collapse of an empire. And some of us are holding the blueprint for what's next. I know I do. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But if you have this within you, if you even feel the ramblings and rumblings of it, it matters. And I want you to be clear about your dreams because we don't have time to waste. So, in this masterclass, I want to tell you about how your imagination can become a tangible between now and the end of the year. So, if this is your first time here, hello, I am Marjorie Boswick Phoenix. I'm the founder of the Feminati. I'm a midwife for women with big dreams. I'm an author. I'm a Renaissance woman. I can go on and on. But if this is your first time here, welcome. And I invite you to please like and subscribe to help this video reach more women who need to hear this message today. Let's talk about the life that you want, the life that you deserve, the country we deserve, right? The world, the future generations deserve. They are all dependent on your dreams. And not just any dream, not just any dreams, not your safest dreams, but your boldest dreams. Before I go, and get into deep about this, I want to stop right here and start off with a prompt to get you sort of thinking about where we're going into. All right. And if you need to, you can pause the video to journal or just think about this. Okay. So here's a question. What do you want to create in the world? Where are you in creating this? What do you want to create in the world? And where are you in creating it? What did you feel in your body when I asked that question? Because what you feel is telling the whole story. Some of you may not even be able to answer that question right now, right? You haven't felt like you can dream, right? You feel like your dream is far, far away from you, right? You're not able to connect with it. So today I'm going to take you there. We're going to go through an activation to get you to that dangerous imagination. And we're going to get there through an archetype, the medial woman archetype. Those of you that have been following my work, you know that a lot of my work is informed by archetypes. And this is an archetype I introduced to you all last week in my last video. And the medial woman archetype, she was created by Tony Wolff, who is a Jungian analyst. And this archetype inhabits the world of the seen and unseen, not straddling, but inhabits, presencing, right? She balances the conscious and the unconscious. She lives between the past and the future in this liminal space where you will learn to pull unseen energy into the physical world for collective use. She is like a frequency, right? And this is a frequency that you will tap into that will allow you to access the blueprint that holds your imagination. But it needs your full alignment and your devotion to it. So in this space, you're going to learn a new way of thinking and a new language that will make you liminal lingual. Yes, I made that up. Liminal lingual, right? So I want you to make sure that you stick around till the end of this video, please, because I want to tell you how we can explore this together in the Dangerous Imagination Labs, right? And this is a place for the dangerous woman to come and play. I'm also going to tell you a little bit about the Feminati, which is the sovereign society for women that I've created. And this is for women who want to build differently. They want to build their businesses differently. They want to build their life differently. And they want to build it outside of the system with other women. So, where I'm going to take you and what comes out of this may not show up today. I just want to let you know that. It may not show up tomorrow, but it will show up. But what it will do is it helps you to build trust, right? It helps you to build trust in this process. It helps you to build trust in yourself and to trust your dreams. So you have to commit yourself to your dreams and to this process. This is going to open up to you some new ideas and a version of yourself that has literally been waiting. She's been waiting to be invited to come out and play. She's been waiting to be chosen, waiting until it was safe. This is what I was doing for the longest, and it took me 50 years. So let me share with you how powerful this is. Recently, in a YouTube short that I did, I spoke about this liminal space practice and how it helped me to regulate my nervous system when I went through a traumatic divorce, and recently in 2024 through the loss of a job. And I did the affirmations, I went to therapy, I did the coaching, the mirror work, all of that, trying to retrain my subconscious that it was safe to dream again and desire and receive. But my nervous system needed something more. And what I discovered was that our beliefs are like the subconscious, and our nervous system is the unconscious. So this practice takes you between both, right? Between the two. And And it took my nervous system out of survival long enough so that I could receive downloads. What came out of this for me the first time that I did this was my book, Who the Hell Do You Think You Are? And you can find this on Amazon. It's a memoir where I wrote about my story of being a stay at home mom and my then husband arresting me in front of my two children for throwing a wedding album at him, spending the night in jail, um, coming out 24 hours later to discover that he had closed the bank accounts or drained the bank accounts and put a restraining order so I couldn't go back to my home. And I spent over almost 2 years fighting for my 6-year-old child and my life back. But from that, I started hosting retreats, circles, and then retreats for women who went through a similar situation. And then I started the Giving Voices Project, a nonprofit, as a way to help women share their stories through the arts. Now, this is what happens when we're able to tap into that liminal space, right? And inhabit it as this medial woman archetype. Our most dangerous imaginations come forth, right? Solutions that we would have never thought of if we're in survival and if we're in our heads too much. And blueprints are activated that have been dormant within us. They now come online. So if you commit to this, it will bring you so much clarity. You will notice some of the biggest shifts in your life. And imagine doing this in the right room with the right women. It will quickly move you forward towards your dreams. So I want to take you through this activation. This is going to be abbreviated, and this is going to be something that we will be doing in the Dangerous Imagination Labs. But I want you to sit with this, and this is something that you can come back to and practice on your own just so you can get comfortable with this. So let's take a moment to just find a comfortable position, seated, if preferably, and where you can just feel your feet flat on the ground if that's possible. Take one long, deep breath in through your nose, exhale through your mouth. And again, inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Let those shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let your hands rest open. You don't need to be anywhere than here right now. There's nothing to do, there's nothing to think about. Just be in this moment and breathe. Close your eyes if I haven't told you to do that. 3 slow breaths, and let the silence hold you. Now bring your awareness to the soles of your feet and feel the ground beneath you. Be one with it. You are connected. Now move your awareness slowly upward to your calves, your thighs, your hips, and your belly. Notice What are you holding in there? Just notice, don't judge it. Now move up to your chest, your heart, your throat. Breathe into any place that feels tight right now. Just acknowledge it. Now bring your attention or bring your awareness to the space behind your sternum, the center of your chest. This is your divine center. This is where you live. Breathe into that space now. And I want you to sit in it for as long as you can, quieting the mind, removing the movie that's playing out. Focus on the depth of that divine center and pause this video and sit in this for as long as you can, then come back. You are a woman who can live between worlds. You can hold two spaces at once. You can learn to inhabit the middle space of your own evolution. From this place, you can sense what is coming before it arrives. You can hold what others cannot hold. You can translate what others cannot hear. This is where your work begins. You can hold this place in silence for as much as you want. So if you want to pause this video again, you can do that. When you're ready, take one deep breath and bring that stillness with you back into the room. You become a dangerous woman with a dangerous imagination. A dangerous woman is a woman that can't be controlled by fear or guilt or shame. She's not dangerous because she is harmful. She's dangerous because she creates from this liminal space. A dangerous woman makes her own rules and lives by them. She is the woman who chooses herself again and again. She trusts what she knows in her bones, not what she was told to believe. She becomes a threat to the system that relies on her submission and her silence, to the roles that she was trained to perform, the internalized lie that kept her small. She's no longer manageable and she can't be absorbed. Right now, maybe you don't feel so much like a dangerous woman, right? Maybe what you feel is exhausted, depleted, overextended, where when you smile, you really want to scream. You feel like your power has been misplaced. There are too many women right now that feel powerless in their own lives. You spent years doing what was expected. I know I did, holding it together. I know I did. And somewhere in that survival script, you started believing your worth was tied to your usefulness. So, what do? We consume, we read self help books, we make more vision boards, we repeat the affirmations, but none of it can be a substitute for the true reclamation of yourself, the reclaiming of yourself, your wild woman, dangerous self. I spent years shaping my life around being a wife and a mother, pouring everything that I had into those roles. And I thought that it would keep me safe and worthy and loved. Getting the degrees, all the education, building this, building that, right? Until it was violently taken from me. And I'm not just talking about the relationship or the marriage, but I'm talking about the identity that I had built around all of it. Many of us are out here right now talking about the idea of decentering, right? We're decentering men. We're decentering the patriarchal standards. We're decentering work as we know it. But all we need to do is start centering ourselves, choosing ourselves, belonging to ourselves. And here's where I see a lot of women start to pull back, because being in this kind of energy that I'm talking about, being in your wildest nature, your being a dangerous woman and dangerous imagination, this feels scary because it feels big. It's different. It's out of your comfort because we start thinking about, oh, what will they say? Right? If you start showing up as your dangerous woman, who the hell do you think you are? Right? We start thinking about, can I really make this work? When you start to have those dangerous imaginations, there's never a guarantee, right? But there is something called building the plane while in the air. Reverend Evelyn and I spoke about this in our Substack Live that we did earlier this week. And if you haven't had a chance to watch it, we talked about women's collective power, right? You can go to my Substack and you can see that. I'm sorry, Women's Collective Imagination. You can go to my Substack and you can see the recording. But we can't, like now, we can't be afraid to try new things, right? To create something, to see what works, what doesn't work, what fits, what doesn't fit, right? We have to be curious. We have to play with it and explore. Men do it all the time and they fail forward all the time. And we call it success. So I'm calling this playtime and prototyping. Okay. You can't think about how it will look, right? You just keep going back into that liminal space. That is where the next step or the answers lie. The real work is not in launching the thing or perfecting the thing or performing the thing. It's learning to be the midwife, to stand in that middle space consistently, and to let your body and intuition and rational mind work together to sense what's emerging before you name it. And I don't want you to be overthinking or judging like what comes up for you because you're learning to be in two worlds at once and architecting from it, building from it. So let me just pause right here for a moment and ask you, what choices have you been making that you know are keeping you from your dreams? And you can pause the video here and check in with yourself. But something tells me a lot of you already know. You know what's been um, sabotaging, right? Every time you make a step forward, while you keep ending up at the same place you are now, walking around with that big belly, pregnant with this dream, holding, clenching every time you have a contraction. Instead, you just open your legs and let it go. Let it be born. Your imagination is not just wishful thinking, it's a fragment of your life that hasn't been lived. It's a frequency, that medial woman frequency. Your highest potential lies there. This is where the space time calls in the dark matter that creates worlds. If you want to get science and geeky about it. So let me just wrap it up here because I could go on about, you know, what being in this dangerous imagination space looks like, but I won't do it justice because you have to experience it, right? But I will say this, that if you never fully access the woman that is needed for such a time as this, the cost will be a life not fully known or experienced. And I shared this in another recent short about the fact that at best I have 25 summers left. And I have two choices. I can live a life out loud, or I can do what's expected and live a mediocre, unfulfilling, and undiscovered life. I choose to live a life out loud. And I want that for you as well. Because you've spent years building a life that looks right, but doesn't feel like home, or in a body that doesn't feel like home. You keep showing up, but somewhere along the way, you forget yourself, parts of yourself that have sort of disappeared. A life where joy is postponed and pleasure is deferred. And we can't afford to live like that anymore. So let me tell you what happens next. On Tuesday, July 28th, I'll be holding space as your midwife in the Dangerous Imagination Labs. Now, I'm not doing this alone. I have called in some women that I trust and that are moving in the world like I am, and they're not afraid to be dangerous women. And this is the space where you can sit with everything that I just shared. So it's 90 days of weekly engagement in a small group, and this is by design. You will be matched in a pod with another woman, and you'll be with that same woman over those 12 weeks where you will midwife for each other. Now, the midwife role is important to this process, and I talk about that in my last video. You don't need a coach, you need a midwife. That archetype, midwife of collapse, She typically is the one that shows up when a woman is moving through her threshold moment. She is experiencing these contractions, those birth pains between pushing something into the physical world, right? So like the medial woman, she sits in that liminal space as your sawera, the Shuna word that translates for friend for life. You've heard me mention this in numerous videos. She is with you through the arc of transformation in your life, holding your hand. And this is that level of connection and collaboration that women can have inside the lab and inside the femininity. I have been my own midwife, and it was not easy. I went through this in isolation, and I don't recommend it. So I built this space so you do not have to. And I know there are a lot of women that have. They have been the midwife of their own collapse, but it cost. It cost me more time and more wrong turns than I can count. And because dangerous imagination requires this level of permission that most women in this moment can't manufacture for themselves. And it's not because of any flaw or weakness, it's because the external pressure is so loud, the distraction is so heavy, because the internalized voices of compliance and self-doubt, it speaks as the first person in your own thoughts. And when you are alone in that liminal space with that voice telling you to be practical, to be careful, to wait, it wins more often than it should. That's why this cohort is so important. It's a place to be witnessed and held deeply. So today is Friday, the 26th, and you will have until Wednesday, July the 1st, to enroll at $800 or 3 payments of $267. After that, it goes up to $1,000 or 3 payments of $350. So I will put a link in the description box below for you to enroll. And I know this is not for everyone, right? But this is for the woman who doesn't want to waste any more time and money on another program, on another thing, right? This is for the woman who doesn't have time to waste because, like me, she might have 25 summers left at best. This is for the woman who wants accountability so she can stop editing her boldest ideas. We can't afford for your dreams to go undiscovered, for your power to stay dormant, for your dreams to keep being pushed off further and further into the future because you aren't comfortable enough. And this is why I also created the Feminati. This is a space where, yes, you can build alone. You could definitely do that. But after going through this labs, you will see why you shouldn't. Because what we are entering now in this new time period, after the collapse, what we're building, it is not from a place of individualism. It is from collectivism. It is for the collective, even though we might benefit from it. And we have an opportunity now to build things that the world has never seen before. And this is the space where you get to do it. This is the space where you get to do it with true intention and discipline and in covenant with other women. There's nothing like this anywhere. So if you are interested and just want to know a little bit more about this, I'm going to put a link for the interest form for the Feminati also in the show notes below. But I will leave you with this. The moment you stop, go within and be curious, listen, and bet on yourself, you start to remember, because this is the work of remembering who you are before the world told you who to be. I'll see you next time.